Chapter 7. Brother Vigard had given Steinfinn absolution in articulo mortis, so he had a fair burial. Steinfinn's kinsmen and friends spoke big words at the funeral feast. They swore that Matthias Haraldsson should lie unatoned. As yet the dead man's next of kin had made no sign, but they all lived in other parts of the country. There was also trouble in the air. Rumours were abroad of great events that were brewing. And Steinfinn's kinsmen boasted that the men who would now have most power in the land, while the king and the duke were children, were their friends. Only a small part of Steinfinn's debts and dues were settled at the division of his state among his underage children. The kinsmen made as though there were immense riches, but between man and man many a hint was dropped. Arnvid Finnsson had to stay at Fretherstein with the children until Haftor Kolbeinsson had held his wedding at the new year. Then Haftor was to move to the manor and have charge of it for Halvard, Steinfinn's elder son, till the boy came of age. Steinfinn's brothers stayed behind at Fretherstein some days after the funeral guests had departed. The evening before they were to ride away, the men sat as usual drinking ale, after the supper had been cleared away. Then Arnvid stood up, making a sign to Olaf that he was to come forward. "It is so, Ivar and Kolbein, that here is my friend Olav Audunsson, who has bid me lay a matter before you." Steinfinn declared, before he died, that Olaf ought to go home to his own house and speak with his kinsmen of a portion and a mourning gift for Ingunn when he now takes her to wife. But now we have thought that, as matters stand, it will be easier that we conclude this matter at once, and that Olaf's wedding be held here. Thus both we and his kinsmen will be spared the long road, while winter is at hand and our fortunes are so uncertain. Therefore Olaf has bid me tell you that he offers to give surety, and I am willing to be his surety as far as 16 marks of gold, that he will put to what he gets with Ingunn so much that she shall own the third part of his estate, besides her bedclothes, apparel, and jewels according to their condition. He also offers to give surety that he will make full restitution of its cost to him of you who shall provide his wedding, whether you will have ready money, or that he shall sell you for a fair price Ingunn's share in Hindcleave, and make amends to her of his lands in the south. Arnvid spoke on for a while about the terms which Olaf offered his wife's kinsfolk, and these were unwontedly good. Olaf promised masses for the repose of Steinfinn and Ingeborg, and he pledged himself that the Steinfinnsons should always find in him a trusty and compliant son-in-law, who would hearken to the counsel of his elders as was fitting for a young man of his age. Finally, Arnvid asked the Steinfinnsons to receive this offer as it was put forward, with goodwill and in a loyal spirit. Steinfinn's brothers listened as though the matter troubled them exceedingly. While his friend was speaking, Olaf had stood before him on the outer side of the table. He stood erect, with his calm, pale face turned towards Ingunn's uncles. Now and again he nodded assent to Arnvid's words. At last Kolbein Thorisson made reply. "It is true, Olaf, that we know there was once talk between your father and our brother that you should marry one of his daughters. And you must not think we do anything but esteem your goodwill in desiring to order this matter so that we might have been well pleased. But the thing is whether your kinsmen would now be so set upon this marriage of our niece to you that they would consent to your offer. But what weighs most is that we now have greater need to ally ourselves by marriage with men who have power and powerful kinsfolk, and these you have not. We must now seek support rather than riches. We look to you to acknowledge this, since you have shown by your offer that you have foresight far beyond your age. But because of the promise Steinfinn once made to your father that he would help you to a good marriage, we will gladly help you in this matter. For Steinfinn's daughters we have other designs, but you must not be dejected on that account. With God's help we shall find you a match as good in every way and better fitted to your age. For young as you are, Olav, you were ill-served with a bride as young. You ought either to take a wife who is older and more discerning, or betroth yourself to a maid who is younger and let your wedding wait till you yourself be fully grown. Olav had turned red in the face while the other was speaking. Before he could answer, Arnvid said quickly, "Hereabouts all have held Olav and Ingunn to be betrothed, and I myself stood by when Steinfinn handselled him his daughter." "Yes, yes," said Kolbein, "I have heard of that. It was a game they played. Afterward they spoke of it, Steinfinn and Audun. They said it might be fitting if they turned the jest to earnest one day. And that might well have been, had not our brother fallen into these misfortunes. But since this betrothal has never been concluded—" "The ring I pledged her with. Steinfinn has it in his coffer. I know it." Olaf broke in hotly. "You may know it. You can depend upon it. Steinfinn is not like to have made away with any of your goods, my Olaf, and your kinsmen shall witness that not a button is missing when they come to receive them on your behalf." Olaf's breath came quick and short. Kolbein went on. "You must see plainly, Olaf. No man of sound mind gives away his children in that way, in his drink, except all covenants about marriage portions and the like were made beforehand. Steinfinn did it. I don't know whether he was a man of sound mind. You must know, had Steinfinn thus bound himself to Audun Ingolfsson, he would have said no straight out when I spoke to him this spring of Ingunn for the son of a friend of mine." "What did he say then?" asked Olaf breathlessly. "He said neither yes nor no, but promised to listen to the man. We spoke of it again when we conferred about this other matter, that it might profit us greatly if Ingunn were married into that kindred. But I stand by what I have said to you, Olaf. Gladly will we kinsmen help you to a good match." "I have not asked you that. I was promised Ingunn." Arnvid interposed. "It was one of the last words Steinfinn spoke, Ivar, on the morning of his death, that had he himself been able to give away Ingunn, he would have chosen Olaf for son-in-law." "Yes, that is likely enough," said Kolbein, rising from his seat and coming forward. "But now it falls out, Arnvid, that Steinfinn could not do it. You should be old and wise enough to see that we cannot turn away the man who can give us most support in our troubles, just because Olaf has taken for earnest a game they played with him once when he was a little boy. You went unwillingly enough to your bridal bed, Arnvid. It is strange you should make such haste to push your friend into his. Perhaps Olaf will thank us one day that we did not let him have his will in such childish fancies." With that, he and Ivar went to the closed bed in which Steinfinn had been used to sleep before the raid, and shut the door. Arnvid went up to Olaf. The young man had not moved, and his eyes were fixed on the floor. His face twitched again and again. Arnvid bade him come and lie down. "It was lucky you curbed yourself, so that it came not to angry words between Kolbein and you," said Arnvid as they undressed in the dark behind the pillars. A sound like a snort came from Olaf. Arnvid went on. Else it would have been hard to bring this matter to a good ending. Kolbein could have claimed that you should leave the house at once. Don't let him see that your heart is so set upon getting Ingunn and none other. Then it will be easier. Olaf said nothing. He was used to sleeping on the outer side, but as they were getting into bed, Arnvid asked, "You must let me sleep outside tonight, friend. That ale tonight was not good. I feel sick from it." "I had no good of it either," said Olaf with a short laugh, and lay down on the inside against the wall. Arnvid was just falling asleep when he felt Olaf get up and try to step over him. "Where are you going?" asked his friend, taking hold of him. "I am thirsty," muttered Olaf. Arnvid heard him grope his way over to the tub of whey and water. He ladled some out and drank. "Now come and lie down," Arnvid bade him. And indeed Olaf soon came pattering back, crept into the bed, and lay down. "It were much better you say nothing to Ingunn of the answer we have had, till we have taken counsel what course to pursue," whispered Arnvid earnestly. Olaf lay quiet a good while before he answered. "All right." He sighed deeply. "So be it, then." Arnvid felt a little easier after that. But he dared not abandon himself to sleep before he heard that the young man beside him was in a deep slumber.